hold on to your hats, folks, because today's movie, Aquaman, might be Amber Heard's last hurrah. And no, it's not because of her performance. Can you believe the world was after Johnny while she was gallivanting around with Jason Momoa? Anyway, our story starts with Thomas Curry, a lighthouse keeper, the ultimate romantic, right? Who one night finds a seriously gorgeous mermaid washed ashore. She's tough, she's beautiful, and she nearly kills him. But Thomas, smooth operator that he is, calms her down. Turns out, it's Atlanna, Queen of Atlantis. Total fish out of water, but boy, do these two fall hard. Their son, Arthur? Yep, Atlanna raises him on tales of legendary tridents and ocean uniting heroes, classic foreshadowing. One day, Atlantis' army, more like Atlantis' army of chumps. Our girl Atlanta, trident in hand, wipes the floor with them. Talk about a power move, though, maybe slightly excessive if you're planning a return trip. But hey, awesome fight scene. Years later, young Arthur's facing schoolyard bullies, when bam! A giant shark smashes the aquarium. Total Harry Potter vibes, right? Finally, fast forward again, pirates hijack a Russian sub, leaving a bloody mess. David Kane, a name you'll remember, takes out the captain. The story continues. Bad guys. I'd never guessed David's dad, the big boss pirate, hands him a family heirloom knife, or a touching moment. Don't be fooled. These guys are cutthroat murderers. Suddenly, bam, something smashes their sub, yanking it to the surface. And who bursts in? The Game of Thrones hottie. Okay, maybe Aquaman, or Arthur, or something. He kicks pirate butt. These guys are seriously underprepared. David jumps in, sword swinging, but against this guy? No. That's when David realizes, he messed up. Big time. You don't bring a butter knife to a superhero brawl. Arthur traps Dad under a pile of missiles, ready to leave. But old Dad's brain is clearly on vacation. He shoots. Kaboom! Ocean water floods in. David's begging for help, pathetic. But Arthur, zero mercy. For Dad. Tells him to go and save himself, but he does not, so the old man brings out a grenade. David has no choice but to run away. David's father dies, but he survives and he is filled with vengeance. Meanwhile, Arthur takes the crew back to safety, back to the lighthouse. Thomas is waiting for Atlanta at sunrise. She does not come back, but his son does. Father and son go to a bar for a nice and healthy breakfast of beer. There they see news about how Aquaman saved the Russian crew. Meanwhile, deep underwater beyond the pollution and known society, two tribes of Atlanteans are having a meeting. One tribe is led by King the other tribe is led by King Nerus. Has invited nearest foreign alliance. He wants to unite all the remaining tribes of Atlantis and invade the surface world, but Nearest is not interested just then. Whoa, a submarine attack, chaos, bodies, or maybe a nail-biting submarine takedown. Either way, action-packed. Seeing the surface world's dirty work, Nerus makes a deal. Then bam, it's Amber, or Mera, or Mira. Seriously, get your act together, writers. She wants Arthur, Atlantis' firstborn, the rightful king, to rule. But he's still reeling from his mom's execution. Talk about a family reunion. Next, tsunami alert. Massive waves, a ship gets wrecked, their car flips, but wait. Arthur's got superpowers. Mera shows up, waterbending ninja style, saving the day. The bad guy, is behind global underwater mayhem, sending subs and warships flying. This guy needs a villain origin story, stat. We need more Arthur backstory. Whoa, hold on to your hats, folks. Volko, Om's supposed advisor, was secretly Arthur's Atlantean power-up coach. Then, zoom, Mera whisks Arthur to Atlantis, a hidden underwater city that makes our world look like a toddler's playset. First time ever in his mom's hometown. They find an abandoned ship, and bam! Volko spills the beans. Om's planning a surface world invasion. Arthur's gotta find the lost trident of Atlant before Om unites the Atlantean tribes, and boy, are some of those tribes monstrous. Volko then launches into this epic Atlantis fairy tale, a surface-dwelling paradise, technologically mind-blowing, until plot convenience sends them underwater. King Atlant, the trident, the whole shebang. Then, tribal splits, monsters, and King Adlin. Whoa, Volkov hands Arthur this ancient, super-secret cylinder, the key to finding the legendary trident. But bam! Atlantean soldiers attack. Volkov and Mera vanish, poof. Like magic. Arthur, not so lucky. He's outnumbered, outmaneuvered, and utterly captured. Talk about a bad day. King Orm Scott? Seriously, whoever designed this place has serious style. It's wicked cool. Orm, Arthur's half-brother, their mom was Atlanta, the ultimate queen, starts taunting Arthur like a cartoon villain. And Arthur? He's not exactly known for his brains. He falls for it hook, line, and sinker, and challenges Orm to a duel. A duel for the throne. Orm, totally stoked, accepts. He's been waiting to crush his half-brother. Later, Volkov gives Arthur a serious talking to. Landlubber, he practically shouts, "You're great on land, but Orm's the underwater king." Meanwhile, Orm's showering Mera with gifts, probably trying to buy her off. What a sneaky villain. Hold on to your hats, folks, because this is a roller coaster. Betrothed? Yeah, she's totally going to cheat. Our hero gets a double dose of betrayal, first by his fiancée, then by Orm, who blames him for mom's execution. Talk about family drama. The ensuing fight? Think gladiatorial combat, but with way more booing. It's like playing a crucial match in the opponent's stadium. Orm, wielding his dad's trident, faces off against Arthur and his mom's, well, something. Orm, a water fighting pro, practically toys with Arthur until Mera swoops in with an air pocket. Talk about a game changer. They escape, pursued by stormtroopers with aim like a drunk octopus. Their ship's final destination? A fiery lava crash, but don't worry, they're safe in a whale. Following cryptic instructions, they end up in the Sahara Desert, which was once an ocean. What a wild ride. Hold on to your hats, folks, because things are about to get wild. Tracked by Orm, apparently, that gift to Mara was a sneaky little tracker. She bails out of the plane like a caffeinated squirrel. I'm guessing the crazy was mostly for show. Meanwhile, ORM's arming David with enough firepower to take on a small army, which David then promptly uses to build a better weapon. Talk about a superhero upgrade. Arthur, channeling his inner Johnny Depp, unleashes a furious yell, before plummeting into some seriously ancient ruins. Mara's right behind him, and they stumble upon the very forge where Atlan's trident was made. They pop a mysterious cylinder into a gizmo, and Arthur's sweat, yes, sweat, activates a hologram of Atlan himself. King Atlan lays down some cryptic riddles, something about true kings and hidden paths, yada yada, and poof. A bottle, a map, and a sudden trip to Sicily. Fasten your seatbelts, it's gonna be a bumpy ride. Hold on to your hats, folks, because things are about to get wild. Orm and Nero, those charming fellas, waltz into a meeting with the fishermen, a tribe who love knowledge, hate war. Naturally, Orm kills their leader. Nero, ever the diplomat, smooths things over, and bam. They hand the crown to the princess, forcing her Sicilian vacation. Meanwhile, Arthur and Mera stumble upon a map inside a bottle. Romance blossoms as they solve the statue riddle, until boom. David arrives, decked out in a ridiculously awesome supervillain outfit, he's Black Manta. Atlantean tech clashes with, well, less impressive tech, as Arthur gets his butt kicked. But then, a brilliantly improvised ball and chain maneuver sends Manta swimming with the fishes. Mera, meanwhile, defeats the remaining soldiers with an epic, and frankly wasteful, amount of wine. Talk about a party. Myra's being tracked, so Mera destroys Orm's creepy bracelet. Next thing you know, they're in a tiny boat, heading for the Trident, and a date with Destiny, or maybe just a really grumpy trench tribe. Arthur's mom was executed there, by the way. Cue thousands of ferocious, underwater monsters attacking. They fight back, seriously, thousands, and escape in a thrilling underwater chase that culminates in a typhoon. Turns out, it's a portal, and nearly kills them. Myra's rescued by someone in seriously cool armor, it's Atlantis. Alive. Arthur and Mera are speechless, she's supposed to be dead. Arthur's racked with guilt, blaming himself, but Atlantis? Totally not his fault. And then she asks about Arthur's dad. He waits for her every single morning. Atlantis weeps, this lost love story is heartbreaking. But she reveals the only way back, Atlantis' trident. Protected by a legendary beast, the Karathan, super powerful. And only Arthur, the one true king, can, well, you know. Whoa. Arthur grabs the trident, diving headfirst into Destiny, and a dead Atlan. But wait, a grumpy Corathon's like, dude, run. Naturally, Arthur picks a fight and gets his butt kicked. Then, bam, fish talking powers activate. The Corathon's jaw drops, last guy to do that? King Atlan himself. Arthur's all, no glory seeking here, just gotta get this done. One chance, one pull, and snap, the trident's his, plus, a free upgrade to his wardrobe? Sweet deal. Meanwhile, Ocean Master, yeah, that's Om now, is plotting to crush the Brine tribe. Prepare for war. Hold on to your hats, folks, because this is epic. He's attacking the surface world. These Brine warriors, tough cookies, they're giving Ocean Master Nerus and that pesky fisherman Om a serious run for their money. Om almost nabs the Brine leader, but bam. Corathon bursts in, Arthur perched atop like a majestic sea king. All armies clash, but Corathon's power is unreal. Arthur, wielding his awesome sea creature controlling powers, unleashes the ultimate aquatic army. Then, Mara sweeps in, a quick kiss, and a warning. Don't be another Johnny Depp, honey. She sprints to her dad, spilling the beans about Arthur and the trident, the proof of the true king. Nerus sighs, fine, you win, the sacred laws say so. Arthur, ever the stylish king, hops on a seahorse and charges Om. Their showdown, a spectacular surface battle atop a wrecked ship, with the whole of Atlantis watching, jaws agape. Hold on to your hats, folks, because the Arthur vs. Om showdown is epic. This time, Arthur's fighting on his home turf, and he's totally owning it. The fight choreography, slicker than a greased piglet, I tell you, a real 300 style slow-mo masterpiece. He even pulls off a killer move Fork taught him, Fox practically bursting with dad pride. Om's trident, snap, broken like a cheap twig. Om's begging for death, but Arthur's got mercy in his heart, until Atlanta shows up. Om's jaw drops. Boys, stop it, she says, and suddenly, Om's a total mama's boy. Mera tries to steal the spotlight, declaring Arthur king, but honestly, everyone's already celebrating. And then, the sweetest part. Thomas Curry, strolling along the docks, gets the surprise of his life. A tender kiss with the love of his life, sigh pure romance.